New Year, church. You know, we talk a lot about making resolutions, and I think that is becoming a word that's used too much and too often. But I hope our resolutions this year will be just to draw nearer to Jesus and to make that a priority. I'm going to give you part 2 of what we discussed before. And I had someone here, I won't mention their name, but they said I didn't make the letters big enough. So this time I hope I did. Okay.
Beautiful.
So I hope everyone can see them. I'm not going to really try to pronounce the other word, but TMAO is what we were discussing. All right. Diets high in meat, dairy, and eggs are also consistently correlated with cancer. How many of you know someone right now with cancer? How many of you have known someone in the past with cancer? Whoa, almost everybody. Okay, well that's something we all want to avoid, I think, at any cost. It's caused a lot of suffering in this country. So this is why we're going to discuss this. Researchers are seeing the role of TMAO as key in these disease process as well. The inflammatory action of this toxic substance signals the transformation of the cell to a more uncontrolled reproduction and spreading state that overrides the normal restraints built into the cells of the various organs and tissues of the body. Take prostate cancer, for example. The benign early stages of prostate cancer are no problem until they start to spread and metastasize throughout the body. A lot of study has been done to try to locate the risk factors that cause some to make this deadly transformation and others to remain benign for years and decades. And what did they find? Eggs seem to be the big dietary risk factor. I was surprised to read that. I didn't know that. That was a big risk factor. And they think it is the choline. Even as little as 1 egg every 3 days is enough to double the risk of cancer progression. The only higher risk factor than eggs was eating chicken. And we're going to go to our microbiome now. This refers to the multitude of single-cell life forms that live on and in us. Most of them live inside our GI tract, and we are only beginning to understand their importance to our health. They are intimately a part of us, and we could not survive without them. In terms of numbers, they outnumber our human cells 10 to 1. Although they vastly outnumber our human cells, yet because of their very small size, they make up only about 2 quarts of our total volume. But if you start thinking about genetics, these each have their own genetic code. Our human genome makes up a minute fraction of the different DNA codes found in us and influencing and controlling the various biological and biochemical process going on inside us. There are over 10,000 different species of microbes living in us. Some estimates place this number as high as 35,000, and these each have their own DNA. For every human gene in your DNA, there are hundreds of non-human genes present and being expressed, carrying out their unique contribution to the totality of life's activities going inside of us. We now realize that these microbes communicate and have controlling influences over most organs in our bodies. They participate in a wide variety of physiological functions, including our immune system, where they play a very major role. They are involved in detoxification, inflammation, vitamin production, nutrient absorption, signaling our appetite center, utilization of carbohydrates, fats, and other nutrients. They make neurotransmitters and send signals to our brain and can affect our mood and emotional state, the clarity of our thoughts, our energy level, and our perception of the world. How we feel emotionally and physically really depends on the state of our microbiome. Is it healthy and dominated by friendly, beneficial bacteria, or is it sick and overrun by bad, unfriendly, and even pathological microbes? We are all populated by vastly different microbial communities, which to a large degree determine the state of our health or sickness. So how can we get good, healthy, friendly bacteria to live in us and get rid of the bad? There are many probiotic supplements available on the market, any containing a dozen or two of some of the most common healthy bacteria species. How many of you have heard of probiotics? Anybody taking them? We are all populated by vastly different microbial communities. Remember, there are over 10,000 different bacteria needed in your microbiome, and the ones you feed are the ones that will grow and live, and the ones you don't feed will die off. It is now becoming abundantly clear that a high-fiber, whole plant food diet is the perfect diet to grow and maintain a healthy microbiome in your gut. Animal foods and junk foods feed different populations of bacteria and thus promote serious disruptions and pathological imbalances in the population of bacteria that inhabit your gut. If you want the right species of bacteria living in you and influencing your life, you need to feed them the right foods, whole plant foods. So as we've seen in our study of TMAO at the beginning of this article, the major cause of our death in the country today all comes down to feeding the right bacteria in our microbiome with the right food. Perhaps as we continue to understand more deeply the great complexities of the web of life God has created with all of its interconnecting dependencies, we may find that proper nutrition is not so much about which nutrients our body needs, but rather which nutrients the microbiome living within us needs. At the creation of this world, God looked at all he had made, and behold, it was good. Then he told man what was to be his food and described exactly what the microbiome living within him needed to keep him healthy. May we continue to respect the divine wisdom of our Creator by obeying his instructions. Thank you.